Hello everyone, welcome to Kids Auto and Truck Repair. Today we have a 2014 Audi Q7 with a 3.0 liter. This Audi Q7 came to us from our local Audi dealership. The complaint on this vehicle is the engine goes into a limp mode and the vehicle loses power tremendously. So when it goes into a limp mode, the vehicle no longer goes over 20 miles an hour. So at that point, it becomes very difficult to drive. So they towed the vehicle to our shop and now here we are. So we have to figure out why this engine is going into a limp mode. Now, when the vehicle was dropped off by the tow truck driver, I went in the vehicle trying to start it. When I put the key in the ignition, I turned the key on, I turned the key to the on position, nothing happened. So I noticed that the battery was completely dead. I charged the battery. When I charged the battery, the vehicle started. I put a battery charger under the hood. The vehicle started. I test drove the vehicle around the shop. I was able to confirm the complaint. And when I got back, I turned it off. It wouldn't start back up. I jump started it again for the second time. While the engine was running, I used a multimeter to check for system voltage under the hood. While the engine was running, we had 14.4 volts under the hood. I mean, on the battery terminals under the hood, which told me that our charging system is good. But as soon as you turn it off, it would not start back up. So that symptom tells me that our battery is defective. Now, this vehicle was sitting at the dealership for a little over 2 weeks. And before that, it was at the collision center. Actually, I'm going to tell you the story behind this vehicle when we replace the battery. So we have to fix this vehicle. We have to figure out what's going on. The first thing we have to do is let's get a good battery on this vehicle first. And after that, we will fix the limp mode issue. So I'm probably going to have to make 2 videos about this. The first video is going to be about how to replace the battery on this Q7. The battery is under the driver's seat. And once we get a good battery on this vehicle, then we're going to diagnose the limp mode issue afterwards. Let's put a battery charger under the hood so we can jump start the vehicle and drive it in the shop. And after that, we're going to replace this battery. As you can see, we have our jumper cables connected to our battery terminals under the hood. And I'm using this truck to jump start the battery on this vehicle. So now let's see if this engine is going to start. So I just jump started it. Let's see if we have enough juice on the battery to start the engine. So as you can see, nothing is happening. So it's tried to start. I hope you can hear the starter click under the hood. So as you can see, the battery is clearly weak. Okay, so we're gonna have to let the other truck idle a little bit so it can charge the battery on this vehicle, so we can have enough juice on this battery to the point where we can start the engine and drive this vehicle in the shop. Okay, so I'm gonna let this vehicle sit over here for a little while and then I'll bring you guys back up when the engine starts. Perfect. So right there, as you can hear, the engine is running. We have a traction control light on the dash. And then when I give it gas, I hear a hissing sound coming from under the hood. I don't know if the camera is going to be able to pick this up. All right, so now let's disconnect the jumper cables that we have under the hood. I'm gonna lower the window first. Let's roll the windows down. Okay, now I'm gonna use my multimeter and we're gonna do a system voltage test while the engine is running. Okay, I already did this off camera, but I just want to show you so you know that the problem is not the charging system. Alright, so the engine is running. I have my multimeter on the voltage scale. We're gonna turn it on. Now we're gonna connect our red lead to this terminal over here. And then the black lead, the ground, is gonna go over here. So right now, with the engine running, we have 14.25 volts, which tells me that our charging system is working. Now, I'm not gonna turn off the engine right now. Let's drive the vehicle in the shop, and then I'm gonna turn it off. We will see if the engine is gonna start back up after I turn it off. I'm sure it's not gonna start back up because this battery is dead. So I'm gonna drive the vehicle in the shop and then I'll bring you guys back up. I got the vehicle in the shop. As you can hear, the engine is running and our system voltage is 14.23 volts. So it's kind of bouncing around, so that's good. 14 volts at idle is good. Our charging system is working. Now, I'm going to turn off the engine. Let's see if it's gonna start back up. So I let the vehicle idle for a little over 15 minutes. So now I'm gonna turn off the engine. Let's see. I bet when I turn it off, it's not gonna start. So it's off, okay. Now let's try to turn it. Nothing. Now the key is stuck, because the battery is completely weak now. See that? Nothing is happening. Let's go under the hood and look at our multimeter. So right now the voltage is 4.5 volts. Okay, so this is way lower than normal. So now let's remove the battery. To get the battery removed, we're gonna remove the seat so we can get access to the battery. So I'm gonna get some tools so we can get this battery removed. I left the engine running because if I turn it off, I'm gonna lose power in the vehicle and I won't be able to push the seat back and forth. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get to these bolts down here so we can remove them. So I'm gonna push the seat backwards. So right there, the seat has been pushed. So we're gonna remove this bolt over here, and then there's another one over here that we have to remove, okay? So now let's remove these two bolts, and then we're gonna go to the back of the seat and remove the last two behind the seat. So here comes the first bolt. Now we're gonna remove the second one over there. So here comes the second bolt. So now the front of the seat can move. As you can see, we can now move the front of the seat. So now let's go to the back of the seat and remove the last 2 bolts. So now we're gonna push the seat forward like this, all the way. And then we're gonna tilt it. All right. So as you can see, we now have enough room back here. So here is the battery box. We're gonna undo this bolt over here, this one, and then there's another one over here that we have to undo. Okay, so after we undo these 2 bolts, this one and then this one, then we're gonna tilt the whole seat backwards so we can get access to the battery box. Now I cracked this bolt loose off camera just to speed up the process. So now we're gonna undo this one. Here comes the second one. Okay, so the seat is now moving. Now the next step is going to be, we're going to remove this carpet. And then we're going to remove these covers over here. So there's a bolt over here that we have to undo. And then there's another one under this cover. Okay, so after we undo these 2 bolts, we will be able to lift the seat. So now we're going to remove them. No, I like to remove these bolts just so I can have some play between the seat and the bottom rail. Okay, so if you want, you don't have to remove these, but I always like to remove them because it just makes it a lot easier to remove the battery. So now we're gonna undo the second bolt. So here comes the second bolt. So now we should be able to lift up the seat. As you can see, the seat is laying down there. Now here is our battery box. So here's the battery. We're gonna have to disconnect this wiring harness from this plastic cover over here so we can lift the seat a little bit higher, and after that the battery will come out. I got the driver's seat up and lifted so it's out of the way. I'm using these bungee cords to keep the seat up. Okay, our seat is just pushed back there, and here is our battery box. So now we have enough room to remove the battery. Okay, so that's good. So now I'm going to turn off the engine so we can remove the battery. So the engine is off. At this point, it's now going to start again. Okay, so now that we have enough room under here, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this little air duct over here. So just like that. And then we're gonna undo these clips over here so we can remove the battery cover. There's 4 of them. All right, so now the battery cover can come out. So here's the battery. So we're gonna do this battery hold down. We're gonna disconnect the terminals, and then the battery is gonna come out. So now we're gonna disconnect the battery. So we removed the first battery hold down. So now we're gonna remove the second one. Here's our second battery hold down. So now our battery should come out. So we're gonna lift our battery. So here comes the battery. So here's the old battery. We're gonna get it out of the way. Now we did get an OEM battery. So here is this is our OEM battery that we got from Audi. So I'm gonna install our OEM battery. So just like that. And then the next step is gonna be installing our battery hold down. All right, so I tightened the first battery hold down. So now I'm going to tighten the second one. All right, we're going to install this breather tube. And then we're going to install our positive terminal. And then we're gonna reconnect our negative terminal. All right, so that's tight. Perfect. So we got all the terminals tightened, everything is reconnected, the battery is installed, the hold downs are tightened. So now we're gonna install the battery cover. So at this point, we're gonna put everything back together. So putting everything back together is the reverse process of the removal process. Okay, so it's basically everything we did backwards. All right, so now I'm gonna start the engine with this brand new battery installed. Remember before, the engine could not start with the old battery. So now let's see what happens. So right there, as you can hear, the engine started, so all is well. I'm gonna turn off the engine. I'm gonna start it again. Okay, so that's good. We have successfully replaced the battery. I'm gonna turn off the engine. So now I'm gonna put everything back together. So we're gonna lower the seat. So now we're gonna gently lower the seat and put it back. So now we're gonna make sure everything is lined up back here. So things are not lined up here. All right, so I got the bolt back here started. So we got this one started, we got that one started. So now let's go get the front ones started. We're gonna get all of them started before we tighten them. Now, since we got the back ones lined up and started, the front ones should pretty much be lined up as well. So this one here is lined up. All right, so we got this one tightened. So now we're gonna tighten the second one over here. Perfect. Now we're gonna get these ones on. Perfect. So now we're gonna install these little covers over here. So that's good. So now let's go tighten the back bolts, and after that we should be good to go. All right, so that's good. We're good to go. We can put this piece of mat back on. All right. So we're good. We are done with the first part of fixing this car. So let's start the engine one last time before we wrap up this video. All right. So as you can hear, the engine is running. And now the engine starts. So the engine starts right up after I turn it off. So we're good. The problem was the battery. So I'm gonna leave this right over here. We're gonna diagnose the limp mode problem tomorrow. I'm gonna leave this right over here. This is how you remove and replace a battery on a 2014 Audi Q7 with a 3.0 liter. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumb down. But if you do, you gotta tell me why so we can make better videos in the future. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Thanks for watching. See you next time.